All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back. How y'all doing out there? We back once again, and I'm gonna do a little something different today, y'all. I'm gonna give a couple of stories today. I'm gonna read a couple of stories to y'all about just ordinary people and how they became wealthy, and also, and this gives hope for you too. You know, we can do the same thing, but and this story I'm about to show you this person wasn't even planning on becoming wealthy. She did this one simple thing. She took some money and she invested it. All right. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into this story and check it out. All right. So here we go. Let's get into it. All right. Let me go ahead and put my glasses on and we're gonna get to reading this. All right. Here's the story, y'all. The story, her name is Grace's story. And her name is Grace Groner. And I first heard this story, you know, I think I was reading a book because I have so many books on finances. And I don't know if it was Motley Fool or maybe I heard it over a radio one day. But I want y'all to check this story out, okay? All right, is this what it says? And y'all can read along with me. It says Grace Garner established the Grace Elizabeth Groner Foundation, a 501c, which she endowed with over $7 million. Grace stated intent directed the foundation to provide financial support for qualified, service-oriented Lake Forest College students. Her legacy consists of far more than just money. Grace lived humble and kept her wealth a secret, leading a modest life dedicated to service. In the spirit of her belief in young people, the Grace Elizabeth Groner Foundation, or GEGF, encourages real-world service learning opportunities, which invites students to partake in the joys of serving others in the community, nationally and internationally. All right, let's check out the story. She created this foundation. And there she is right here. Grace with her twin sister, Gladys. All right, let's read on. From the beginning to the end, Grace Groner lived a humble life. In 1909, she had a twin sister, Gladys. I said that Gladys? Yeah, Gladys. Were born on a small farm in Rural Lake County, Illinois. Orphaned at age 12, Grace and Gladys Groner were taken in by the Anderson family, residents of Lake Forest and friends of Grace's parents. The Andersons loved Grace and Gladys, viewing them as family as they sent the girls to boarding school and Lake Forest College. After Grace graduated from Lake Forest College in 1931, she began working as a secretary at Abbott Laboratories, where she remained for over 4 decades. It was during her first year at Abbott that Grace purchased 3 shares. 3. She purchased 3 shares of Abbott stock for $60 each. Wow. And now, now, let me put that into perspective. $60 in 1931, that's a lot of money. Okay. If you was making $60, because I remember when I first started working, I remember minimum wage was $3.35. That's when I first started working. But in 1931, that's when everything was cheap. So she paid a pretty penny for those 3 shares of stock in 1931. But let's keep going. She bought three shares. It was during her first year at Abbott. Grace purchased 3 shares of Abbott stock for $60 each. She kept that stock for the rest of her life, always reinvesting the dividends. Okay, so you think about that. Now, how many people buy a stock or buy anything worth value like that, we have to go in and sell it, we get scared because you hear the market noises, every day, there's a recession coming. And you got to think, this is 1931. So World War II didn't even happen yet. So imagine all the turmoil that was going on in the world, and and that she could have sold those shares. I think it was the 1929 was the crash, right? So that was even bolder of her even to buy it then, because you think the 1929 stock market crash, the Great Depression, right? So she's coming from a world where everything crashed. And she was bold enough to take her money and go right back into the stock market and buy 3 shares. And like I told you, that was a lot of money she put in there. That was definitely a lot of money that she put in there back in that time frame. Anyway, so y'all, I want y'all to think about that. The 1929 stock market crash, think about it. She saw the whole everybody was in soup lines and all this stuff going on at the time. People out of work, out of jobs. But she had a job, and it was actually her company stock that she bought. Now, I want y'all to even think about the saving that she had to do just to get those 3 shares at that time. So she did what most people wouldn't have done. I mean, look at all the other things she could have bought at the time. She probably could have bought a car, bought a whatever, She could have spent it on clothes. She could have been hanging out, having a good time with the money. But she did something that the majority of people wouldn't do. And even today, when I tell people do you want to, people want to rather buy a $500 pair of Nikes versus buying a Nike stock. I said, well, why would you buy $500 for the shoes? The stock is trading at what, 90 something bucks right now. You can get 5 shares of Nike, and they pay a dividend. And you know what they tell me? I ain't putting my money in there. I don't lose my money. But they feel good. They can put their little pair of Jordans on. They walking around, everybody high-fiving. Oh, man, oh, shoot, you got them Jordans. Oh, wow, you got them joints. How much is that? Oh, man, I'm doing like $500, right? Yeah. And you feeling like the man. You walking around with your Nikes on. Everybody giving you high-fiving because you got the $500 Nikes on. I'd rather take that 500 and put it in the stocks. I'd rather buy the company itself and then let it on buy me some shoes, because now I'm helping my own company out, right? You buy the stock and then you buy the product. Now you promote your product. You are part owner of the company now. You own shares of Nike. Congratulations, you're an owner. How many of y'all go to Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, right? How many of y'all eat at McDonald's? But how many of y'all own any shares of the places that that you're going into, that you're buying from? I mean, we've been taught to be consumers our whole life as consumers. And I don't want to be labeled as a consumer, but that's what they say. They call you the retail investor or the consumers, right? Don't y'all know that all commercials are geared towards you? Think about this. When you get your paycheck, when you get paid, everybody wants a piece of your paycheck. That's what commercials are there for. They're there to distract you, to make you, to entice you to buy this. This company's selling this. You got the new iPhone, G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip over there. Your kid want that, right? Cell phone over here, new pair of shoes. I want to get that new jacket. I want the Louis Vuitton purse, right? And so when you get paid, there's your needs and your wants. And what do? A lot of people, when it comes to when they get paid, there's so many wants that they don't take care of their needs, the stuff they need to take care of, right? So you, out of your paycheck, also you got to pay your water, your electric, you pay your food. You might have the car insurance. You might have to pay for a car note, which I don't do, by the way. I'll get into that later in another video. But you have all these things coming out your paycheck, and you get, most of us get paid every 2 weeks, right? Every 2 weeks we get a paycheck. So out of that paycheck, now you trying to decide what do you want, but then you've been bombarded with all these commercials coming at you, right? From all the corporations. And now you want this thing you want, but you only got a certain amount of money. So what do they do? What do they offer you? I know y'all know. Well, they know you don't. They know that your paycheck is not going to keep up. They know this. With inflation, right? So what do they offer you? And they know that y'all didn't get your raise wasn't enough to keep up with inflation. So what are they going to give you? Here come the credit card companies. Giving you a $5,000 limit, $10,000 limit. Now you good. Now you got your credit card, right? So now everything seems more possible. All the distractions that came at you, I can get them now. And now you get yourself that credit card to give you $10,000 limit. And what do? You see the big X50 100, you see that big old 100-watt, 100-inch screen TV that's sitting on your wall. You see it in the store, it look good, don't it? You thinking about all the guys coming over with the football game to come and watch your big 100 screen X50 TV. I just made that up, by the way, y'all. Everybody want the X55, the 100 screen, the 100-inch screen TV. Everybody want that. But you got it. You pay $5,000 for it. And you get it off your credit card. And that credit card said, hey, it's only gonna cost you $75 a month. You're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get that thing. And so you looking at that, it's just $75 a month. And now you got the big 100-inch, whatever, TV on your wall. And you feeling good. You got all your friends coming over to watch the football game. And you all excited. And you think you're doing something. And the only thing you did is put yourself in more debt. And all these distractions are out here for us to distract us from actually building wealth. You can build wealth, but you got to get past the distractions, and you got to be strong up here in the mindset to know every dollar has a place to go. Take care of your needs first, right? You should take care of your needs, and you should also think about your future self. So if you're planting a seed today, as y'all know, I garden, and I just love watching stuff grow. Investments as well, it's all the same thing. You plant the seed today, and you're waiting for a future harvest in the future. But see, a lot of us don't think about our future selves. We just live for the day. And then that day becomes a month. That day becomes 6 months. It becomes a year. It becomes year after year after year. And it becomes a cycle. And all that time, we don't save anything. We didn't invest anything. We just been consumers. I've been going to McDonald's. I've been going to Starbucks. But I never thought once to buy the share of the place that I patronage all the time. And that's what we need to do. Okay? So I'm getting carried away. Let's get back to her story. All right, let's get back over here. All right, I just wanted to show y'all that you got to think about during that time frame where she was now, 1931, after the great stock market crash, the Great Depression. It's what she was in, but she held a job at Abbott Laboratories. And by the way, Abbott Laboratories is a stock that's still trading today. Today. Today's date is December the 12th, 2022. And that company has a nice dividend, and that's one of the top stocks, one dividend paying stock today. All right. So I just want y'all to know that. So if she even left that money in there still till the day, I wonder how much money it would be right now. Good God Almighty. But anyway, let's get on here. So we're okay. It was during her first year at Abbott that Grace purchased the 3 shares of Abbott stock for $60 each. She kept that stock for the rest of her life, always reinvesting the dividends. She just did something extraordinary that most people won't do. Eventually, her $180 purchase will be worth millions of dollars and would fund the Grace Groner Foundation. During the Great Depression, oh, here we go. Grace learned to live frugally, and for the rest of her life, she continued to live humbly. She lived in a small bedroom cottage. After her car was stolen, Grace walked instead of buying another car. And even during old age, with walker in hand, she would tend her garden. Because of her, I like the garden too. Good, Grace. Because of her lifestyle, Grace's fortune came as a surprise to nearly all who knew her. After Grace passed away in 2010 at the age of 100, wow, Lake Forest College and the town of Lake Forest discovered that she had left her entire estate to a foundation she had formed years before her death. Newspaper headlines dubbed her the secret millionaire. Between the stock splits, reinvesting her dividend payments, Grace's 3 shares of Abbott stock had grown into over 100,000 shares, worth a total of $7.2 million. Wow. That's powerful. Grace's greatest passion was service. She never forgot the gift of education given to her by the Andersons, and she often donated anonymously to those in need. She also volunteered as a secretary at Barat College in Lake Forest and the First Presbyterian Church of Lake Forest. Grace's passions for service and education reflected in the foundation she left behind. She instructed that her wealth be used to benefit students of Lake Forest College by funding service learning opportunities, which included internships, international study, and service projects. Grace knew she wanted to help improve the lives of young people, and the trustees of the GEGF are implementing her wishes. Qualified Lake Forest College students may apply to receive grants to pursue unique service learning opportunities. In addition to funding such programs, Grace also entrusted to the GEGF, the college in which she lived. The trustees annually invited 2 female Lake Forest College seniors to reside there as Grace's guests. Finally, since Grace accrued her wealth through a pharmaceutical company, the foundation may also provide grants to assist Lake Forest College graduates to attend Rosalind Franklin University College of Pharmacy in nearby North Chicago. All of the program's funds through the GEGF include a service component continuing Grace's commitment to service. Today, many Lake Forest College students are receiving the benefit of her generous gift, a gift that will allow students to pursue their academic and career goals while serving others. These students will go out in the world as Grace would have intended, experienced and ready to excel in their chosen field and to serve the people they meet along the way. Grace's legacy lives on through the thousands of Lake Forest College students and graduates who will benefit from her generosity and follow in her footsteps of service. Here it is. Today's generous gift enables Lake Forest College students engaging in exciting service opportunities. And there she is. In the early 1930s, Grace purchased 3 shares of Abbott stock for $60 each. This investment would be worth more than over $7 million in 2010. Like again, so there y'all have it. And what she did, like I always say, there's nothing new under the sun. What she did, you can do right now. All you gotta do is have the mindset to do it. She bought those 3 shares and just left it alone. Abbott stock is still out here today. So I just think that was a good story. I'm gonna give y'all more stories of different people to come. I got a few more stories to show y'all. So again, and this for everybody. And I'm gonna show y'all some stories on this too, what I'm about to say. It's not how much you make, but it's what you do with what you make. That's the key. You know, for her to hold those shares, those 3 shares that she bought, I want y'all to think about that. That took a lot to do that. I mean, there were other companies out there like Coca-Cola, Pepsi. I think Coke came about in the 1920s. I mean, she could have been distracted to buy anything else, another company, another stock. And just think about the risk that she took. I mean, Abbott Labs could have went belly up, but she must have she had so much faith in that company that she held that stock through all that time. I want you to think about the decades that she held it. From 1931, 41, that's when World War II, what, 1939, 40s, then you had the Korean War. I mean, you can imagine all the noise that she heard. 1960s civil rights situations that was going on. Also, think about the Cuban Missile Crisis, where they thought, they would have doing a nuclear bomb raids. They were practicing because they thought they was going to be attacked, maybe from Cuba, during the 60s. I mean, just think about all the reasons that she should have sold or that she could have sold. Then you think about, then I said the civil rights, what was going on with that in the country at the time. But she held on to her shares. And in the 1970s, the oil embargo, what was going on with the oil, and I think stocks crashed again during that time frame. But she held on to her shares. So you think about all the noise, and I mean, and it's so much more than that. You know what I'm saying? But it's this think how she held on to those shares. All the noise, all the reasons that she should have sold or could have sold, but she didn't. She kept reinvesting her dividends, and she kept letting it grow. How many times you think she's heard, "Hey, you know what? You got your all your wealth in one company. You're taking a big risk." But she ignored all the noise, and she just kept plugging right along, kept reinvesting that dividend in that one company. You hear today, everybody tell you to diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I hear 2 different camps on that, because a lot of people say there's a lot of wealthy people that basically they concentrated their wealth into certain things that they truly believed in, and they went and they just focused on that, and they became super wealthy. And then on the other hand, there's some people saying, hey, you need to diversify. There's the case things go wrong, you might lose it all. And that's true too. You could lose it all. You might pick the wrong company and you might lose it all. And so that's something to think about as well. But you got to think of all the noise that she's been through, all the things that she heard through the media, all the reasons why that she should have sold, she held on. And to me, that's an extraordinary story, because after all that time, she held that thing her whole life. Her whole life. In the 80s, when Reagan was president, she held the shares. Jimmy Carter was in the office, Nixon was in the office, she held them shares. When Robert F. Kennedy was in the office, she had those shares. She did not sell. And so also for young people, is if you invest while you're young, that's the best time to invest. The younger you are, the more time you have your money to compound. Compounding interest is a powerful thing. So the younger you are, the better. And now, in today's world, back then, I don't think they had mutual funds. But today, you can put money in the mutual funds. You can get an average return. And with the stock market, it's between 10, now they're saying 7, but I say it's between 7 and 10%, maybe 12, okay? But that's based on where we are now. But there are individual stocks too as well that you can buy that you might believe in, and you might buy 5 stocks. You might not gonna mention Nike in the other video. You might like Amazon, right? Starbucks, I mentioned that as well. You might want to buy shares in that. But imagine if the younger you are, and for you parents out there, to teach your kids to get into investing early, it's the best thing. They got a Uniform Gift to Minors Act where you can actually go to a place like TD Ameritrade, and you can actually start an account for your young children today. And when they get a certain age, like after 18 or whatever you decide the age you want them to have that money after that fact, they can get that money later on. But I'll say this too. You never give anybody money without training them first or teaching them first. Have them read books on investing in wealth. Have them understand the understanding that you're giving them a gift. Don't just give them money. If you didn't train them enough upstairs, they're gonna go out and blow it. You're giving them an opportunity to change their life. All right. I'm gonna do another video later on, and I'm gonna show you some of the books that we have, some of the books that I like, that I read. And every once in a while I pick them back up, and I go look over them again. And one thing I'm gonna tell you right now, it's called The Richest Man in Babylon. You can actually listen to the audio on YouTube. Just type in Richest Man in Babylon, and listen to it. It's a long story, but just sit back and listen to it. That book right there has so many golden nuggets in there. And it is starting to retrain your mind. All right. So yeah, I was just thinking about this a little bit longer. She did something that most people wouldn't have done. And she held on through all the noise, through all the years, through all the wars, Vietnam, Korean War, whatever. She just kept on holding her shares. And she became a multi-millionaire. And I also wonder what year did she become a millionaire in? I mean, think about it. Forget about being a millionaire. I mean, how many people had $500,000 in 1960? Really? And then how much would $500,000 be worth in 1960 or in 1970? I remember um, uh, there was a person that we was renting our house out at the time in the 1970s. And my father we was renting a house, and the lady, I think she offered to sell us our house. She offered that we were renting out. She offered to sell to us the house like for like 20 something or $30,000. And back then that seemed like a lot of money. That seemed like a lot of money. But now looking at today's prices, that same house, I think down there it's like almost $1 million. It might be over $1 million now in today's prices. So that's just something to think about too. So she held on. And at what point was she considered rich? That's all I'm saying. At what point, when she had 100,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, at what point in time did she actually get to those numbers first before she got to the 7 million for $7 million number? So technically she was wealthy already. And all she did was invest and buy 3 shares. Just 3 shares. That's all she did. And through all the noise, through all the wars, through all the ups and downs in the economy, she held on and stayed with that company. She lived to be 100 years old and died a multi-millionaire where she donated her money, you know, to all these young people now benefiting off of her money. So that, to me, that's a good story. I don't know if she had any kids on that. It don't say. She probably didn't. But it's a powerful story. And all I'm saying, we can do it too. All right. So that's it. Now I'm done with this one. See y'all on the next one. This is the Truth Seeking Network. Peace.